Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends trade media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Erin, and I'm Leyla, and today is our 101st episode, which is insane, and therefore, we have a beautiful little clip show for you. This is a great episode to start on, it's a great episode to share, and we hope you like it on this fine Memorial Day. In the spirit of Zemnis talking like a LinkedIn CEO.
Oh, no.
So our good friend Robert Pattinson famously hates these movies, and as Erin lightly brought up earlier, is a little bit unhinged in interviews. The man has lost his hinges, and I love that for him. I love that energy. So I would like to know, Erin, if you can tell the difference between something that Robert Pattinson has said in an interview versus a shit post on Tumblr.
Okay, good. I'm excited. I'm excited for this.
Great. Round number one. Women get to smell like real things. Men get to smell like concepts.
Ooh, that has big Tumblr energy, but it's also such a wild thing to say. I think it's a RPAT quote.
Incorrect. That is a Tumblr quote.
Dang
However,
it.
he did say, lots of people tell me I smell like a crayon, like I'm embalmed.
That's really...
So that's round two. I really hate vaginas. I'm allergic to vagina.
Did Robert say this?
That was Robert Pattinson.
What? Robert, why?
Talking about having to be in a scene with like 12 nude actresses for like 11 hours.
All right, sure.
Round three. I still kind of want to be a rapper. I was a rapper named Big Tub. I was called Big Tub and the Tabby Cats.
There's no... This has to be a shit post because there's no way Robert Pattinson was a rapper named Big Tub and I didn't know about it before this very moment.
Dude, Robert Pattinson was a rapper named Big Tub and the Tabby Cats. Whew. Okay, round four. I once heard a theory that the Loch Ness Monster is actually the ghost of a dinosaur, and since it's harmless, I've decided to believe it.
Okay, I feel like I've seen that one on Tumblr.
Okay, yeah, that's a Tumblr one.
Okay.
That's a Tumblr one. Okay, round five. Final one. I'd prohibit boring people. In my opinion, there's nothing worse. The people who are boring should be in prison and be forced to learn to be creative with the other prisoners.
What? I mean, of course this is a Robert quote.
That is a Robert quote, yeah.
It's so wild. It's such a wild and specific thing to say that, of course, it's a Robert quote.
3 out of 5. Great job.
Not bad. Not bad.
Love that Big Tub of the Tabby Cats gotcha.
Gonna download that album right now.
Honestly, I'd listen to it.
Eve, on the other hand, fucking rules. Because what did she say? She said, I'm gonna take your eyeballs and shove them down your throat so that you can watch me rip your carcass open with my claws. That shit rules.
That was a fucking raw line. That was a great line in a film that was desperate for any sort of narrative heft. Yeah, I mean, she's like a weird, like, overbearing waspy type. I guess as much as a wolf from Canada can be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, but you know, she was
wolf Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Ah, there we go. There's her episode title.
You're right.
But basically, yeah, I mean, like she you know, it has a lot of high demands for her daughter, but is also very protective of Kate. Doesn't really care that much for Lily. I guess she's just like, you know, she's very worried about preserving the status and the caste system, which I don't love about her, but, you know, I'll allow it, I guess, because she scares all the other wolves with her propensity for explicit violence.
I think one of my favorite Eve moments that wasn't like an explicit threat was when Lily tries to get her attention to be like, I can show Garth around while Kate's gone. She just turns around, she goes, not now, honey, mommy's in a rage.
Yes, that was very good. I liked that.
One of the only shining light moments in this slog.
Yes, I agree. How you feel about our boy Garth?
He's a Chad.
I mean, he is extremely he is the archetypical alpha, right? He's an alpha's alpha, and he doesn't know where the clitoris is.
He doesn't.
All right, so let's explain that.
Go ahead.
So this is a kids movie, right? I had to explain this to my wife earlier.
Oh God! You didn't call me in. You didn't make me hop on Discord for that.
No, I didn't want two people to watch me embarrassingly explain this. So you can't talk about explicit sex in a kids movie, right? Although they do kind of do that. It's fine, but the metaphor, the euphemism for sex that they use is howling. That's why the alphas and the omegas can't howl together, right? That's polluting the bloodlines or whatever fucking racist shit that people who believe in caste systems love. But basically when Garth and Kate, hang out and they're trying to introduce, get to know each other, Kate's really impressed with Garth. She's like, oh, he's really big and strong and he does all these fucking lifts. He works out a lot. He's really into fitness. But they demonstrate that he is sexually impotent by the fact that he does this howl, this big howl that is it sounds like, oh, it's intentionally very bad. And they followed that up with him barreling the camera with those wolfish eyes and asking, was that good for you? And I had to go for a walk afterwards because that was the kind of Sunday that I was gonna have.
It gets worse. It gets worse because Kate is like, I'll be right back. And she starts to leave and he's like, wait, you're leaving? And she's like, oh no, I'll be back. And he goes, okay, I'll just keep my vocal cords warm for you. Mm-hmm. And then she goes and she runs into fucking Humphrey, which wild. And he's just like, who takes a break 10 minutes into a howl? And she goes, me, I do. Yeah, speaking of My Lizard King. Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, we're both weebs. I think we're both a little bit more inclined to like Godzilla. He seems like a cool, we stand kaiju, we stand a big fire-breathing lizard, we hate nuclear war. Godzilla's great.
Yeah, truly. I love that his little back ridges, they show us when he's charging, like any good accessory.
So hold on. Also, charging just made me remember that they say that Kong's axe is charging when he puts it in the little dock. He charges his axe up, and it's really good, and it also starts glowing, much like Godzilla's back ridges.
And you need that, because then Godzilla charges the axe with his cool nuclear breath, and helps him fight Mechagodzilla, who, all right, we've got to talk about Mechagodzilla, because what they posit is that Ghidorah's brain is in Mechagodzilla, right? And then he's connected through the DNA in the skull, but Ghidorah's 3 skulls are strategically, placed around the world, in Hong Kong and wherever the other 2 Apex facilities are, monster Bluetooth.
It's wild, but yeah, basically they're using magic / telepathy to pilot Mechagodzilla like a fucking RC car. But also poor Ren Sarazara has to fuse his consciousness into Mechagodzilla, which of course gets taken over by King Ghidorah. And the thing that is wild about Mechagodzilla is that the reason that they're going to the center of the earth is to get basically unlimited energy, right? They think that in the center of the earth there's going to be an energy source that is super powerful and that'll solve all of Earth's energy problems, but actually it's just to power Mechagodzilla. And Elon Musk's daughter sends them that sample by basically getting a little crab droid, taking a little bit of nuclear energy out of the core and then scanning it and uploading it to the Apex facility, like basically just like, hey, 3D print this out. And then like they don't talk about it. They're just like, oh, you got the upload, that's gonna make our energy better. They don't talk about like physically building a new battery. Like none of it makes any logistical sense. And it's just like, nope, we took a picture of it and now we have unlimited power and now Mechagodzilla is ready to roll, and that rules.
I mean, that's how I'm powered. It's like if you scan a picture of like a mean white-haired anime boy into me, I'm powered for like a week.
I'm glad that
Did you like that?
I can't tell it's just that the nuclear energy at the center of the Earth is to Mechagodzilla, as white-haired anime boys is to Leyla, which does make me think that Mechagodzilla is a lot hornier than we saw in the film, and I wish that we had a little bit more on-screen time with that.
I support him in his conquests. I stand here in support of my allosexual friends and colleagues while I hang out in the ace spectrum. But yes, absolutely. I have faith in you, first of all. But I think, you know what? Let's talk about what the creators of this film extracted in order to make 7 sequels.
Yeah, so despite the fact that we think this movie is horseshit, there are a lot of direct-to-DVD movies that followed it.
There sure are. Would you like to guess at the names of Kate and Humphrey's 3 kids? I will give you a hint. One of them is just straight up named Runt. One of them has a human name, and one of them is named an adjective.
Okay, so we got Runt, a human name. I think that will be the... I assume there's 2 boys and a girl, so I'm guessing the human name is just like Jenny. And I think that the adjective is named... what's a thing that Humphrey does? I think
it's not like an adverb. It's a thing, a bad thing someone could be.
Okay, misogynist.
So misogynist Jenny and Runt.
Yes.
Close. Their names are Claudette, Stinky, and Runt.
Stinky, of course.
Stinky.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to name your son Stinky?
Normal thing to name your firstborn son. Excellent. Cool.
What holiday is this film about?
I'm assuming Christmas. What's
Correct.
the title? What's the title of this one?
It's a holiday adventure.
Yes. Okay.
So the second
about
one
Christmas.
is
Okay.
It is a Christmas special. You know, fuck it.
Sure.
I want to get to the interesting ones.
Yeah.
So, what? The next motion picture film is called Alpha and Omega 3: The Great Wolf Games. What do you think is the inciting incident of these here games?
What was the inciting incident of the Olympics, I guess is the question. Like, is this some fucking Peloponnesian War shit? God. I bet the inciting incident is that they have to auction off Claudette as a prize to unite a different wolf clan, and she will be betrothed to the winner of the Great Wolf Games.
All of the alphas that are supposed to be competing in the Great Wolf Games suffer a terrible accident and are injured and put out of commission. And they're... What? And then, good news, our favorite side character that we haven't brought up yet, the bear that has a personality, he comes back. I guess the bear puberty hasn't hit him yet, where he loses his humanity and becomes
you stop being a person and a bear once you age 13 years old, and you lose the ability to speak, and you just become a bloodthirsty monster. It's fine. Great, good, excellent. Hold on. So the caste system still exists at this point. They haven't eliminated it.
Yeah. They
just abolished the rule that said alphas and omegas can't marry. Okay. Okay, so good. We haven't had any fundamental... We have had a small change to the society. I guess that's good. I guess that's progress. Fucking...
What's our next holiday special?
So this is the legend... Wait, this is not the Legend of Sawtooth Cave?
This is Legend of Sawtooth Cave.
And it's a holiday special.
It's a holiday special. What holiday?
And it's not Christmas.
It's not Christmas.
I think it's Easter. I think it's when Wolf Jesus rose from the dead.
Yeah, they go. That's the Sawtooth Cave. That's how they know that the cave that
The Sawtooth Stone was rolled away.
So it's a Halloween adventure.
Okay, I guess that's fine.
And after exploring the haunted Sawtooth Cave and finding a wolf who has been driven away from her pack, Runt musters all of her courage to help her. That's the IMDb summary. Very enlightening.
Okay, is that special wolf a ghost? It seems like that's what they're getting at.
Yeah. It's a special ghost tool. So ghosts are real in the Alpha and Omega universe.
Cool.
Now we're coming up on Alpha and Omega 5. Family vacation.
Family vacation, yeah, because when you're a wolf, sometimes you gotta get away from the wolf office.
Pack up for a howling fun movie adventure.
God damn it.
Filled with action, laughs, and tender moments as Kate and Humphrey take their pups on their first family vacation.
That sounds about right. Do you know where they're vacationing?
No idea. However, I did just pick up a...
Leyla looks like she's been struck.
So... So, hold on.
Leyla has not opened their eyes in several seconds.
So... You're straight, so this won't make any sense to you.
Nope.
The theme song for this movie is King by Years and Years.
Okay.
Years and Years is a good musician, is the thing. That I listen to actively.
Well, I mean...
Is the thing.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Years and Years, I guess.
I mean, this is the fifth best Alpha and Omega movie, so maybe it's great.
You know what? If this is what helped kickstart his career, God bless. The thing I was trying to get at that's written next to this fact that just blew my bonk open, is that which of the children do you think is the oldest?
I think it's Claudette.
It's Stinky.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was the firstborn. Excellent.
The first son. Mm-hmm. Stinky.
As soon as he was out the womb, Humphrey was just like, "Oh, I don't think so."
All right, let's talk about Alpha and Omega 7. The Big Freeze.
We're not going to talk about Journey to Bear Kingdom?
That's next.
Oh, is it? I must have had them in the wrong order.
7? No. Well, Journey to Bear Kingdom isn't numbered is the thing.
Oh, okay.
But we can't talk about it. Let's just dip into it now that I'm on the page.
Because that's the chronological release order.
Well, thank you very much for informing me of the chronological release order.
Yeah, I've got to get the time. We're some research-focused podcast.
What year did this come out in?
I have no fucking idea.
2017.
That's not that long ago.
Donald J. Trump was president of the United States when this movie came out on a direct-to-DVD
And you can tell,
release.
based on the audience rating, you can tell that things got worse in 2017.
When the Queen Bear and her daughter, Princess Canoe, visit the Eastern Valley, an epic war breaks out. Rogue wolves versus the Western Pack and the Bear Army. Now it's up to Stinky, Claudette, and Runt to help Princess Canoe return home to regain control of her kingdom.
There's a lot of fucking factional, racial, conflict going on in the Alpha and Omega universe. There's a lot of violence that I'm not thrilled about.
Would you like to know the one trivia fact?
Yes, please.
The last film animated by Digitalis Studio in India, which permanently closed shortly afterward.
Rip to the motherland. This is Modi's fault. I know it.
I would like to read you the top review.
Oh, good.
Not the Alpha and Omega that I know. That's the title.
Oh my god!
This sequel is the worst movie I have ever seen in my entire life. Alpha and Omega is my favorite, and this sequel ruins it. This is just completely bad. Please bring back the Alpha and Omega I know, and please, I beg you.
I can't believe we found the person that makes up the Alpha and Omega demographic. Wow, okay, we'll talk about our data in a sec, but you can really tell this is the split that where the fans turn on the franchise.
This person's review on Alpha and Omega, the original.
Oh, you found their original review. Excellent.
Absolutely. My favorite movie of all time. This review was left on March 3rd, 2018. I just want you to know. I love this movie so much. It's really good. I highly recommend to everyone who hasn't seen this movie to check it out. Sequels are good too, except for Journey to Bear Kingdom. Do not watch that. Also, I love A&O and its franchise. Now, this sounds like a young person, so I support them for being true to their heart. But the fervor with which they address this is still funny.
It's hysterical. You ever meet a read another book person, except it's for the Alpha and Omega franchise?
I do. Too bad they haven't left a review on, now we're back, to Alpha and Omega, The Big Freeze. Now, I do want you to understand that at this point, Ben Diskin is still Humphrey, but Hayden Panettiere has been gone since movie 2.
Thank you. I'm so glad that Hayden has standards.
She is gone. She's too busy being sidelined in a different franchise.
In Kingdom Hearts 3, yes.
So, Kate and Humphrey set out to look for food to store for the winter, but caught up and trapped by a deadly blizzard. Now it's up to the pups, Stinky, Claudette, and Runt, along with the help of Brent the bear cub and Agnes the feisty porcupine, to find the two missing wolves and bring them back home safe and sound. So this is the Goat Story 2 of the Alpha and Omega franchise.
Goat Story?
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a Czech children's film. I'll send you a video about it. We don't.
Okay, thank you.
But it's another movie where the parents go missing.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so I don't have any thoughts on this one. It just is, you know?
Yeah.
Top review says, left me ice cold. 1 out of 10 stars.
Got him. Fucking hire this person for your writing team.
For real. Truly. And that's for FUR, for real.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so...
We've been Alpha and Omega pilled. This is terrible.
I am a wolf girl. You do know that about me, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay, great. So now this is where I wanted to get to. This is the alpha, if you will, of the sequels.
You know how if a franchise goes on for too long, they eventually have to go to space, right? This is the other aspect of that.
Yeah, so let's talk about Alpha and Omega Dino Digs.
You may be asking, hey, doesn't the Alpha and Omega franchise take place in the modern day? And the answer to that would be yes.
Forced to relocate their den, Kate, Humphrey, and the pups befriend Amy, a dinosaur, who needs to stop digging before a T-Rex's spirit emerges, just like hers did. Now they will have to work together before it's too late.
So they're not even just dinosaurs, they're dinosaur ghosts!
Yep.
I can't believe this one got a fucking 3.5 on IMDb and a 1.3 on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie sounds like it fucking owns.
Yeah, it was, so, I watched this movie a couple days before you did, and it was the same day, I went on, like, a really long hike with my dog, and I came back, and I had just taken a hike, I had just taken a shower, I ate, like, a shit ton of carbs, and Act 2 of this movie drags so fucking hard. I was just melting into a little puddle at my desk, like, I can't. And at some point, I just paused the movie. I was like, a bitch needs a yerba mate. A bitch needs a coffee. I literally drove myself to Tim Hortons, got myself a coffee, came back, and then I unpaused. And there is this turning point in the movie where it goes from super boring to completely unhinged. And I unpaused and I went right into unhinged. And I went, if I had just sat still for 5 more minutes, I would not have needed the fucking coffee.
You're not saying that your bad sleep schedule and, carbo lording didn't spike your insulin to increase your deductive capacities?
No, that's me and how I sit with one foot tucked under my thigh, you homophobe.
All I'm saying is that when L, when L says that if he doesn't sit if he sits like a normal person, his deductive capacity decreases by 40%. And I was like, that's just every bisexual person I know.
Do you not watch me while we record these things? I'm just like sinking into my chair constantly. I am listeners. Aaron has sunk into his chair. His foot is now above his head. He's coming back. He's got a good goblin face, so. No, wait, fuck you then. Fine. Let's see, Mr. Stanfield. Let's see if this works.
Oh my god, please don't hurt yourself. Leyla has a gamer chair. This could go so bad.
No, we're here now. I'm squatted in my chair. I'm finishing the podcast like this.
Hear me out. I really love what you have written down here, which is that we need to make Olivia a princess, so we skip. Well, Olivia is technically a princess, but like...
that's a good point. Yeah, she's already a princess. But yeah, we're going to make her at least 18.
Exactly. Hear me out. We go Resident Evil in this bitch.
Oh, hell yeah. Because
the implication here, right, is that she has somebody who looks exactly like her that isn't related to her. What if that's like a, Umbrella-style genetic experimentation thing, and it goes wrong? And, 3 Olivias have to overcome a zombie apocalypse.
Yes. We get... Yes. That's how we get Vanessa Ann Hudgens, that she's been kidnapped, and it's revealed that all of these 3 were actually genetic clones by the Abstergo Corporation, and now Olivia training with her other clones, and also, I guess, I want Kevin and Peter, because I think I want both of them to have more screen time. Probably Fiona, too. I think Fiona doesn't get kidnapped. I want them all to have to fight zombies in Christmas Switch, or Princess Switch 4.
What if
the
people who get kidnapped are Edward, because he's such a simp, I just can't. Mm-hmm. He'd go with her this time.
Yes, of course.
Margaret, and then they think they got Fiona, but it's actually
Stacy.
Oh, no, not Stacy. What's her? Well, they already got Stacy. It's actually the female henchman in a wig.
Oh, Maggie.
It's Maggie in a wig, which leaves Fiona, Peter, and Kevin as the mentor team to coach the Olivias.
Mm-hmm. They have to train Olivia to figure out how to be Vanessa Ann Hudgens.
But Olivia's at that fucking ballet academy, so she and Kevin, part of the movie, has to be the journey to Montanaro.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Good.
Hey, Vanessa.
Vanessa?
Call us.
We're available.
We're so ready.
Leyla?
Mm-hmm.
Oel Ngati Kame. I see you.
Yeah, I see you too, buddy. I see you. I recognize you. I know you.
Yeah. And I know that you had a great time with this week's pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a great. Yes.
I'm sensing a little bit of hesitation. Do you want to talk about how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, I fucking hate this movie, my guy.
Oh,
it
no.
sucked really bad.
But your dad's a raccoon.
Yes, I want to talk about that because there's a hint system in the game. That your parents are introduced by these phone booths that are everywhere, and you can call them and get hints. I really like this hint system because your mom shows up and she's like, okay, yeah, let me give you a generic but not too. It's kind of a vague hint. It's like, here's what you need to do. You need to go to Blackberry. You need to find this next tree. You need to go to this town or whatever. And then she's like, oh, there's a hand that reaches out, and he's got his little fingers twitching for the phone. And she's like, oh, your dad wants to talk. He gives the most detailed advice, very clearly being this is going to be a very specific hint. Telling the player that directly. And she's like, should I put him on, or do you feel like you don't need this hint? And most of the time, the first couple hours, I was like, oh, I don't need it. But then I was like, oh, actually, I feel bad leaving my dad off the hook. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'll talk to him. I don't need this hint or whatever. Smash cut to this raccoon. I was like, wait, my dad's a raccoon. Very funny. But yeah, I your parents are, they don't play a huge part, but they're supportive and they're kind, and they you get to hang out with them sometimes.
Yeah, I found out that Dad was a raccoon because I made it all the way to potluck before I ever even took a phone call with him. And he caught me outside of the donut shop that he owns, which designing that donut was one of my favorite. It's just design a super fancy donut that could not be physically possible, and brought me a great deal of glee. But he started talking to me, and he was like, okay, I'll see you at home, kid. And I was like, what?
No. Who are you?
And I went to my parents' house, and I saw my mom and my raccoon dad. It's like, what?
Listen, we're all fans of, multiracial, biracial characters here. It is very funny to me that you, your mom, and your sister are all like dogs, golden retrievers, and your dad's a raccoon. I was like, I guess, I mean, adoptive families are a thing, but like, it's very rare that the dad is adopted.
Yeah, just a stepdad. I don't know, but I love that raccoon. I think he's very funny, and his little hand animation on the phone call is it's good. There's also you just mentioned your sister Clementine. I love Clementine. Talking to her was always really comfortable or comforting, and I liked having some of like my favorite moments in games. Period, are just like hanging out. And going to get a slice with Clementine and going to get a donut with Chicory were like some of my favorite moments in the game, especially because Clementine was like, hey buddy, are you like okay? and the main character's like, making it through. And Clementine is like, you don't have to say yes to everyone. Is that what's happening? Are people just coming up to you and asking you for things? Is that why you're so stressed? And I was like, yes. In real life, absolutely yes. People just come up and ask me for things, and I feel compelled to say yes. And that is why I'm so stressed. Clementine, I don't need this from a 2D golden retriever right now. But she's a delight, and I always like running into her.
Yeah, I think Clementine is kind of like the platonic ideal of what this game wants an artist to be, right? She is one of those people who attends school at the academy and is like very, she's interested in art. She likes art, but she's also not like, when you tell her that you're the wielder, she congratulates you. She's proud of you, but like, she's not jealous. She doesn't like care. She's only concerned about your health and safety, which is an interesting foil to her friend Radish, who, if you took classes at the art academy, her friend is extremely jealous, and it's just like, wow, this is the new wielder, and like is very giving you a lot of side eye. And I think that's an interesting pairing, and it shows that like your sister is very much like the kind of person, that you would hope that, not only a family member, but like any other person who you are close to in a creative field to be like, yeah, creating is great. It's important. And also it shouldn't be everything. And you should feel completely 100% comfortable being like, I don't want to do this thing for you.
Yeah. And the thing with Radish is interesting too, because especially in like creative fields, but I mean, in most things, you get told that, you work hard enough, you put the time in, you put the hours in, you'll like get wherever you want to be. And like, you understand Radish's frustration with the fact that she is putting the work in and she wanted to be the wielder. And then someone else just happens to be at the right place at the right time and like falls into the opportunity. So you kind of understand the resentment, but the way she handles it is so messy, that it's just, you want her to maybe be a little, to maybe evaluate that for herself,
Yeah.
Ask herself some questions.
The thing is that like, that's me though. Like I 100% get the instinct to be like, I've worked very, very hard, especially when you come from like an honors student bubble and it's just like, I did everything right and I still haven't been given my A and I don't understand why.
Yeah, the honors student bubble, I think, is one of the single most insidious causes of like mental health issues in people our age. Because man, we've been out of high school for 10 years almost.
10 years for you, yeah, and gonna be 10 years for me.
Yeah, because I'm a year. I'm a year ahead, and still untangling some of those webs. 10 years later. And still haunted by
literally the first
things.
like creative thing I ever wrote was about somebody who graduated as a valedictorian and then was like, well, that didn't mean anything. What do I do with my life now? That was the first novella I ever wrote. So yeah, still now I didn't write it that long ago either, so still working through that, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll be unpacking that damage for a very long time.
Let's talk about L/Ryuzaki, who is another iconic character from this program. Like you said, he's just like a big goblin with weird green hair. He never wears socks or shoes. He's always like sitting hunched up, like with his knees pulled to his chest because it apparently increases his brain capacity by 40% or something wild. I like L.
I also like L. I wish he had a better context in which to exist, because I do think he's kind of a delight. The only thing I struggle with L is I'm hoping that the show wasn't trying to like intentionally frame him as neurodivergent, but instead just like a weirdo, you know? Because if they were trying to make him up to be some sort of like neurodivergent genius, it was a really gross depiction. But if he's just like a little goblin freak, he's really funny. He just sits funky all the time and stares unsettlingly and does incredibly gay shit with light. Like it's really funny. And yeah, I do enjoy him, and I don't know why I got so sad when he was like washing Light's feet, which I'm gonna need you to explain the allegorical context of that to me later. But he said, you and I will be parting ways soon, and I genuinely teared up. I was like, what is happening? I hate this show.
I thought L was about to suck his toes, so I was very upset.
Misa Amane apology tour when?
Honestly, we need to add her to our pink girls who have been betrayed list.
Sakura, Kairi, Misa. I feel like I'm missing one. Hinata. There's more. There's always
like we
more.
can't just. I mean, every woman in Naruto, but like, there's more in the medium in general. But yeah, Anime Misa is, you know, she's like a big fan of Kira. You know, she's also a little bit of a Mary Sue because she's a model and, you know, an actress and is very popular or whatever. And that's fine, good. And she's in love with Light. Fine.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever. In the musical, I think she probably has the best arc. I mean, it is still very much based on the anime, so like it's not incredible. She's still extremely, you know, it is a plot point to advance, you know, Light's character, but like I think it's pulled off well, and she does get a little bit more depth, and I appreciated that.
She writes a pop song signaling to with hidden messages for Kira that she's the other Kira. Wink. And I think you put it in your notes. It's like, what if Ariana Grande was actually a psycho killer? Listen.
In this one, like we get introduced to Misa's character as a pop idol, and the first, like, Light's taking his sister Sayu to this concert because she's a big fan of Misa, and Misa starts the concert by being like, "This song is dedicated to our Lord and Savior Kira," and I just thought, like, man, if Ariana Grande was just like, "Hey, the psychic murderer that's destroying people in our prisons is actually really cool, and I'm in love with him," that would be awesome.
I mean, honestly, she was about one step away from going in that direction when she was dating Pete Davidson, I think. Like, she was real close to a daddy's little monster face and got out of it. So I wouldn't put it past Ariana Grande, and all her songs are bops. So, you know, maybe I would be the one in the alley with 2x4 smacking L on the back of the head for our Lord and Savior Kira, which is a thing that happens in the movie.
Yeah, it's very funny. Okay, Leyla.
Mia sucks.
Mia, wait, do it. Talk about the sticker. I can't bring myself to do it myself.
She has... So we see Mia's open locker when they're preparing for homecoming. First of all, she gets Light a top hat. You know,
like a circus man top hat.
The greatest showman. The little greatest show murderer top hat. It does leave us with her open locker. She does have pictures of her and Light in there with a sticker in the, oh my god, American Horror Story font that does say, "Normal people scare me."
You all remember the mid-2000s, right? Where people would have like the mean rabbit with fun sayings on it, and like that was one of them.
Normal is just a setting on a washing machine.
It's so contrived, and like, listen, if they are trying to portray a certain kind of character, that's all they need. Because like, yeah, now I have every bit of information I need about Mia. But like, it's not a good character. It's not somebody I give a shit about. It's like somebody I'm actively rooting for to get written out of the story.
Who is the audience?
Who
is it? I want... Hey, listeners, are you the audience? mortifiedpod@gmail.com. Tell us, please, describe. What are your viewing habits? I want to know what your Netflix queue is. Please, tell us. Unhinged.
It's absurd. And like, you referenced this before, her whole thing is that she becomes interested in Light Turner because he can kill people. He like basically immediately shows her the Death Note, and you know, like it doesn't have the same role where she can see the Shinigami if she touches it, which is weird. But like he proves like using a live computer stream, I guess, that he can kill people, and that is the biggest fucking turn on for Mia Turner. It really does it for her in a way that is uncomfortable, and that basically becomes her whole character is normal people scare me, and I love it when my boyfriend murders people, and it sucks.
When we say horny for murder, we mean like physically horny for murder. Like those two fuck.
Yeah, it's not subtle. Like they are making out and writing names and like getting naked in between like murdering people. It's fucking stupid.
It's a montage. It's bonkers. That being said, the relationship sucks because, well, like, just sucks even in the context of the story, because the end confrontation is them in a Ferris wheel, and Mia's like, "Did you write my name in the book?" And Light's like, "You wrote my name in the book," and they just argue, and then Mia dies. It's a lot. Rem is not in the movie.
Yes, let's talk about Rem. I think actually Rem is spared. You know, they wrote Rem out of the movie, and I'm actually a little bit grateful for it, because we didn't have to see one of the most interesting characters in Death Note get treated like shit.
Who of like Willem Dafoe's caliber do you think would have done her voice? Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna make fun of me, but my first thought was Dame Judi Dench.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine? She did Cats.
You know?
She's been in worse adaptations.
I think Judi Dench has like the unhinged repertoire that you need to agree to a project like this. Either Judi Dench, or I think if she were still with us,
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh my god. I wish. We don't deserve. That's why we live in the bad timeline. In the good timeline, Carrie Fisher is both still with us and did Rem in the fucking Oscar-winning adaptation of Death Note for Netflix.
If Carrie Fisher did Death Note, I would unironically become a fan of the entire franchise instead of just the musical. Listen, I don't have any like scathing reviews for any song in Phantom. I think they are all at least fine, right?
Yes.
So like, some of them are just meant to get you from point A to point B. That's fine. I don't care. You know, it's whatever.
They're perfectly workable.
But yes, fine. I do need to shit on one song in Love Never Dies.
Is it Love Never Dies?
No.
Oh, what is it?
I think Love Never Dies is fine.
Okay.
I think it's Beneath the Moonless Sky.
Okay, yeah, and listeners, you'll remember we already did this 50 episodes ago, but we're going to do it again.
And we're going to do it again and then again. Beneath the Moonless Sky. life wanted two characters to just fuck on stage and stop singing, like I do during Beneath the Moonless Sky. Listeners, not for sexy reasons. Not for sexy reasons. Just because I'm tired of Christine and the Phantom standing there being like, hey man, 10 years ago we fucked, and I've been thinking about it every day since because I guess you have a magic lasso and a magic dick.
It's so long. It is 7 minutes long, and then it's followed up by Once Upon Another Time, which is like another 5-6 minute song about how much they still want to fuck each other.
Here's the fucking thing though, it's not a 7-minute song, it's 2 songs. It's 2 songs. Listen, that scene goes on for fucking ever. I define that scene as the moment Raoul walks out the door to the moment that Phantom leaves, right? So, like, to me, that is that scene. 5 songs! And none of them move the plot forward.
It's so slow. The pacing just absolutely drags. Act 1 seems like it takes forever, and, like, it is so, and you'd think that this man who's written, you know, like 24 fucking musicals at this point would know how to end an act. Like Beauty Underneath, if you had made Beauty Underneath the last song in Act 1, like, okay, fine, that's a good way to end it. But no, then it comes with Phantom Confronts Christine, which is just like, kind of like, hey, anyway, all this stuff that we've been very heavily hinting at the whole time, we're going to say it out loud now, just so you know, in a not especially good song. But we did spend, you know, roughly 20 minutes of this musical's runtime just talking about how good that ghostly dick was. It's just like, I can't with you, Andrew.
And that's a theme that comes back. That is not the first time they talk about the Phantom's good dick. And also, by the way, Phantom Confronts Christine is the song I was talking about earlier when Christine unprompted takes the songbook and is like, your music won't go unheard. The other thing I need to talk about is that during Phantom Confronts Christine, Madame Giry pops up out of a cone. And she's just like, I see. It's your son. And now we must compete with your son's legacy, which doesn't make any fucking sense, but okay, whatever. Why is the refrain from Beneath the Moonless Sky start playing? Did Madame Giry fuck Eric?
Yeah, was this a weird menage a trois? Like, I don't know.
Because that's the sex song.
That is the horny song.
So why did Madame Giry's solo end in the orchestration from Beneath the Moonless Sky?
I think just Andrew was just like, I need to put something here.
Did she touch him and she held him?
Don't do this. Leyla, what do you know about Bella? Tell me about Miss Swan.
Aaron, is she even Italian?
So this is the like quirky romance stuff that I think is really great, right? There's stuff where Edward brings Bella home to meet his vampire family, and there's this whole scene where they're like preparing dinner, and like they walk in on them having this conversation. You know, Rosalie doesn't really like Bella, and she's just like, God, I don't like this human girl. Her name's Isabella. Is she even Italian? And they're making pasta for her. It's so funny. It rules. And there's just so many little bits like that, despite the fact that, you know, Kristen Stewart's, you know, acting was famously lambasted in this series for being stilted and non-emotive, but I honestly don't think that it was that bad. I mean, I think that's just how a lot of teen girls are if they're just kind of depressed. And Bella is depressed, so...
Kristen Stewart does the absolute best she could possibly do with that material. Bella does not do a whole lot, and she's got 2 moods, which is just inquisitive and horny. And I think she really does as much as she could possibly do with that content. That being said, you did refer to her as a not like other girls girl, and I would like to disagree with that as an expert in girl subgenres.
Please.
So a not like
Dr.
other
Mammadova,
girls...
the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. A not not like other girls girl, it will actively reject female companionship and will say things like, see, this is why I don't hang out with girls. There's so much drama. This is why I only hang out with guys. But actually, she does pretty good with the two female friends she has, who are Anna Kendrick, and I will not be referring to her by her character name because she's just Anna fucking Kendrick, and Angela, who I think is a treat, and she's a strong, powerful, independent woman, as the movie refers to her as. But yeah, I think Bella falls into the subgenre of quirky. She's just a little weird, you know? But she doesn't reject female companionship, so I think I would like to establish that as the area expert.
No, you're completely right. My point is refuted. Yes, Bella has female friends, and despite the fact that I don't know that she's an especially good friend to them, she doesn't hate them. She doesn't try to distance herself from them very much. She's just more interested in Edward, and I get it. Not a whole lot of options, not a whole lot of opportunities in this life to date a vampire come up, and you gotta cut some folks from the roster. So sorry, Anna Kendrick. Sorry, Angela.
Yep, there you go.
Scroll down to that one.
Well, her name maybe gets brought up once, so I also did forget Angela's name and had to look it up.
But yeah, I think the biggest criticism of this movie is that Bella doesn't have a whole lot of agency. She does actively sort of do her own research and figure out what's going on, but a lot of the key moments she relies on Edward to save her, and that's maybe that is part of the appeal of paranormal romance. We talked about Jupiter Ascending, how it's kind of nice to be like, oh, I have a cool weird wolf boyfriend who comes to save me. Maybe that's part of the genre. I'm a cishet. I don't, romance is not necessarily my thing, but I thought she was a fine, if, kind of, she's a tabula rasa, right? Like, the purpose of paranormal romance is for people to be able to relate to her. That's kind of why she's there.
Yeah, just to switch over to my other PhD, which is being a doctor of monster fucking, I will say that I don't think she relies on him to save her so much as he just kind of shows up all the time. He is a little creepy. We'll talk about Edward in a second. But I will say part of the appeal of monster and paranormal romance is, one, is that it allows people who are generally othered in society to have another other to lean on, right? So Guillermo del Toro's Oscar-winning fucking masterpiece, Shape of Water, does rely on a woman with a disability who falls in love with this very tight-assed fish man. But then the other thing about having a monster or paranormal romance is that part of the appeal is the monster partner being harmless to you, right? There's an element of danger, but they are protective of you. I don't think that element gets executed in Twilight very well because Edward is a stalker, but that's kind of the vibe it's trying to go for. Anyway, Edward's a stalker with the skin of a killer.
Where to begin with Light Yagami? So like you said, he's an honors student. He's literally the smartest kid in Japan. He gets number one in all the national tests. He receives a death note, a magical notebook that allows him to enact his will on people. Not only does it allow him to kill them, but before he kills them, he can control them and, send messages and do all sorts of wild shit. He's also very unrealistic because, like we've been hinting at, he doesn't know fucking anything about how normal people work, and yet also he is mysteriously very popular. He's able to call up, girls from whenever, and just be like, hey, do you want to go on a date? Because there's when he was trying to get Ray Pember to follow him, he calls this girl and has her go on a fake date with him. And the girl says oh, I'm so excited to have you all to myself. It's are you, ma'am? Have you met Mr. Yagami before? Because I wouldn't want to fucking spend the whole day at Disney World with him. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, this petty gay Redditor is not a fun and good time. And like he is so everything he does is so contrived and so stupid. Literally, if he would just shut the fuck up for a second and not be a reactive scumbag whose hubris literally unravels his plans multiple times. Bitch, just sit on the internet. People are bringing you tips. What are you doing? Why do you need to look at why do you need to seek out any criminals for yourself at this point? You just go down the fucking tip line you've established that's coming in globally, and that's it. Like, write a bunch of names in your notebook, go about your life. What are you fucking doing? He's so... Literally, he gets caught at the end in no small part because he declares victory in front of the people investigating him before he finds out that his notebook got faked. Fucking idiot. He is so painful to watch. The worst part of this whole show for me is, like, anytime him and Ryuzaki are trying to, like, outgame each other, because it's just so much internal narration, it drives me bonkers. The tennis match.
So, Light and L go to college together. L, pretends to be a college student, and Light graduates high school. And they end up being roommates for, like, one episode. And in order to, during the ceremony, L tells Kira that Light that he thinks he's the murderer, Kira. And so L's very, like, Light's very paranoid about that. And they have this tennis match, which is supposed to, be them playing psychological mind games to figure out, whether or not they're actually who they say they are. Because Kira thinks he's L, and, or Light thinks L is L, and L thinks Light is Kira, who he is, and there's this whole fucking long sequence with them just, like, blasting these tennis balls, and also they're both, like, tennis stars. Like, Light was, like, the second best junior tennis player in Japan when he was in the 4th grade or whatever. And L used to, like, he went to Wimbledon or some shit. Like, it's really incredibly contrived. She's like, oh, by the way, I have this whole new skill set that I just, have. And, I haven't played tennis in a long time, but I'm also playing at, like, a grandmaster level. And, this whole time they're just like, okay, well, if L thinks that I'm Kira hates to lose. So because Kira hates to lose, I have to make sure that I don't get upset if I lose. But maybe that's what he wants me to think. And if that's the case, then I have to win. And then it's just like this constant internal monologue that is just bonkers. I think this happens again. One of the most egregious examples of this is, like, when there's that, when his Light's dad drives the car into the hospital, and, like, because other officers had gone there and, like, had been seen and then died immediately. And L makes the deduction immediately that there is a second Kira, like, and also that he has extra good superpowers, and it drives me up a wall. It's just like, this show is making so many leaps of logic that are just like, this doesn't take place in the real world as much as you want it to. It takes place in a fantasy world where everyone's like, oh yeah, somebody's just, like, psychically killing people. That's normal and reasonable.
Yeah, it's like Light's whole thing is just very much like, hi, my name is Light, Darkness, Dementia, Raven, Yagami, and I have medium length brown hair with, well, no streaks, I guess, and red eyes like the blood of my enemies, and a lot of people tell me that I look like a J-pop stars, and if you don't know anything about J-pop, you get the hell out of here, and it's just so... I hate him, He's the worst Mary Sue, and he's so boring, and none of his shirts fit, and I fucking hate him.
Something that's even more fascinating to me than the mid-2000s era of filmmaking is perhaps the career arc of Mr. Jackman, which I understand you have some research to enlighten us about, but, like, it is so wild that, like, Hugh Jackman for a long time was known for making, for being Wolverine in all the X-Men films. But, like, Wolverine really isn't his defining trait. His defining trait is doing wild, weird shit. And, we talked about this in Greatest Showman, but like Mr. Jackman is just really out here with some stuff.
And not just as an actor. I would like to take us back to just post the Van Helsing days, in the year of our Lord 2006, the year that gave us Death Note, and me in 6th grade. And Mr. Jackman executive produced a television program called An Aussie Goes Barmy.
What?
Yes. That is a television program from 2006 that is a reality show about cricket. Mr. Jackman executive produced that.
Okay.
He similarly produced in 2008 An Aussie Goes Bally, which is a cricket documentary with Hugh Jackman in it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he narrates it, and it's his friend who plays cricket is the star of it. So there's also in 2009, wait for it, we're not done with the Aussie series. It's the Aussie Goes Calypso.
What?
And it's another thing Hugh Jackman narrates. So, we love that for him.
Okay.
Mr. Jackman had a couple of roles before. We mentioned Oklahoma. He was just doing kind of whatever. A lot of television roles, actually, before he hit his X-Men stride. So he only did X2, X-Men United, before doing Van Helsing, and then he did a bunch of other X-Men films. Mr. Jackman has lent his vocal talents to several animated films, among which are Happy Feet, Flushed Away,
What?
and Rise of the Guardians.
Oh my god.
We know him also as Jean Valjean on Les Miserables.
Of course, naturally.
Naturally, of course. As we said, he's also in Oklahoma. He loves himself a musical. We've covered The Greatest Showman on this program. I would like to also let you know that there is The Greatest Showman, Come Alive, live performance that is on video that was recorded the same year as Love Never Dies, 2017. That is available. And let this be, as I wrap us out, of a little bit of a dive into, I'll say a gloss over the career of Mr. Jackman. A little bit of foreshadowing for this program, listeners. He did play Blackbeard in Pan, which is a movie we will be watching. So,
Oh, y'all, I cannot wait for that horrible, horrible day when we finally watch the Pan 2015 film.
yeah, so that'll be probably early next year because we've got November plotted out. December, longtime listeners will know, we do some fun end of year stuff for 2 weeks in December, and then we take 2 weeks off. But when we come back, Pan time, baby.
One thing I think is interesting is the way that the internet is deployed, like the way that like light is so dependent on the news broadcasts in this series, because like, it takes place in 2007, I believe, or maybe 2006, but like
I believe it starts in 2003 and then time skips to 7.
Oh, okay, that makes even more sense because like light uses the internet a little bit, but I think the internet from 2003 is so much different from the internet now that like I think that if we were to reboot Death Note, right, like we would have to change so much about it. I mean, listen, we're not going to.
Don't speak that into the world. Don't do it.
We wouldn't do that. If we have enough money to do that, we will just send all our money to lawyers and like have them, sue whatever studio is making that into oblivion because we want to protect you all because we are the gods of this new world and we're creating a new wonderful, peaceful paradise for you all. But like, I cannot stop thinking about the subreddit for Kira, what that would be like, and just like a bunch of fucking dweebs being like, oh yeah, this murder happened just now, or like somebody posting be like, okay, so Kira contacted me, and this is what happened, and just like a bunch of lies and like people going on wild conspiracy tangents because the internet is so different from the way it was in 2003, where it was just a bunch of different fragmented websites.
I think the subreddit for Kira would be even wilder than we think it would be, because it would be full of like people bringing in like tips on who to murder, and then there would be a subsection of people like doxing the tippers, and then you would find out like Tumblr level nonsense about them, like they're grave robbers, which is like a real thing that happened on Tumblr if you don't remember, or that, I don't know, they drink cow piss for fun or something. It would just be like wild information about these people who are sending in tips to the Kira hotline. There would be like Kira BuzzFeed personality quizzes, like which of Kira's victims are you? There would be like a fan art of what people think Kira looks like, and it would be like Thomas Jefferson Miku binder, where it would be a lot of people like headcanon Kira as not a white person, and then people would be like, Kira's God, so of course he's white, and then people would be like, no, they said he's in Japan, and somebody would come in and go, no, Japanese people aren't a monolith, and it would just be chaos.
God.
Oh, and then there would be the crazy right-wingers who, are doing the QAnon conspiracy theories about how Kira's about to kill all the pedophiles in the government and in Hollywood.
Yeah, any day now.
Yeah.
It's actually good to eat horse dewormer because that protects you from the death note or whatever.
And then there would be the gamers who would come in and be like, yeah, see, this is why Dream is the only good streamer, because he goes by an alias and never shows his face. Kira must have contacted Dream. And it would be like that. Incomprehensible nonsense.
God, wow.
How could I forget Kira furry porn? I just watched the light go out from your
the will to live.
I've never seen that ever
Your hair just turned all red, and my eyes turned all blue, and like I just had to leave the room.
No, I've never seen that happen before. You just blinked and stared off into space, and the light was gone. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you really. Yeah, there goes my soul.
Oh my God, I've never seen that happen that quickly.
Yeah, well, you said 3 words. The 3 words that kill me instantly, so.
And because again, this is inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's, there's this weird kind of mechanic to the movie of Tex tells him that you have to take breaks. So no matter what, at a certain interval of time, when Nick Cage's watch goes off, literally he left a child in the middle of a death match with an animatronic because his watch went off. He has to go play pinball, and he has to go have a soda.
It's
no
so
matter
good.
what is happening.
It's the best scene in cinema, I think. So like what happens is Liv, this poor teenager, she's been fighting all these, animatronics, and like half of her friends are dead at this point. And, earlier on, Nick Cage, like she had like run up to an animatronic that was just standing there because, they stand at the podium and wait. But she like drew this knife and she ran up at the animatronic, and Nick Cage just like blocked her, and he's like, no, they're not fighting. He didn't say anything, but his body language was just like, you can't fight them right now. And he takes the knife from her. And also it should be known that he drinks a soda called Punch. It's just called Punch. And he has like 8 of them in the fridge, and he's like working on dusting off this pinball machine. And he's been doing that for the first half of the movie. But then like, and this latter half of the movie where Liv is about to get like, her last friend is killed by this big chameleon that like has a weird tongue and it snaps her friend's neck. Nick Cage comes up to save her. And he's like, all right, we'll fight this chameleon together. And then his watch goes off. He looks at the watch, and then he looks at her. He looks at the chameleon, and then he pulls the knife back out and hands it to her and leaves.
He just leaves. In the middle of a confrontation, he just goes. We've mentioned a couple of times that this movie came out in 2009, is presently 2021, sequel's coming out 2022. So that's 13 years. Aaron, what the fuck is the viral marketing campaign going to look like for Avatar 2 2022? Because I'm already thinking TikTok filters. I'm thinking we're going to be seeing a lot of blue teens. So definitely that. I think definitely billboards. Billboards everywhere, especially
Please
LA.
describe to me the Avatar 2 billboard.
Okay, Okay, so you generally find these in LA. Like, LA does a lot of movie billboards. So I'm thinking that they find like a nice, like really palmy, like really green surrounded billboard, like for the Atmo. You know, I think that would be like a good one. And then it would have to be just bland enough to pull in the old audience, but like just cool enough for the new. So Jake Sully leaping over the Avatar 2 logo with the like giant gun, the Na'vi-sized gun, strapped to his back with 3 children in his arms, so that we know it's a family film. And he's doing the DreamWorks face at the audience.
Of course.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
If I was head of marketing for Avatar 2, I would go the ARG route.
Okay.
Since most of the people who watched Avatar 2 are now people who use the LinkedIn platform.
Oh my god.
Avatar 1. I would create an ARG based on LinkedIn where it's like, oh, hey, here's this company, the RDA or whatever the bad guys were, and then like you have to go down the rabbit hole of like looking at all the profiles of the new bad guys, and then at the end you get a trailer for Avatar 2, and that would be great. So
God,
Disney sent me $85 million for that idea.
What if they sent out a bunch of like recruiter messages?
That'd be fucking sick, because I never look at those fucking things, but I would if it was from somebody from Avatar.
Oh my god, and if they, yeah, because they would have to be really blatant recruiter messages, right? It would have to be like, we're recruiting you for a top secret Avatar, you know, something like that, where somebody would be like, wait, what the fuck is this from a movie? And then you have to go down the rabbit hole. This is a $1 billion marketing scheme.
Disney, we keep telling you, put us in charge. We can do it, I swear.
Oh my god, Aaron, that blew my mind.
I'm cutting this out. I'm cutting this out of the podcast, and I'm putting it in a separate document, and I'm emailing fucking Bob Iger, whoever runs Disney at this point, and being like, yo, if you use this, you legally owe me $100 million, or you can hire me right now for $50 million, and also give me and Leyla the rights to Kingdom Hearts. We'll work something out, I promise.
Make us the execs. Let us talk to Squeenix. Listen. It's on Disney Plus. We can make Sora a Na'vi.
I cannot wait for Kingdom Hearts 4 where Sora goes to Pandora and they all get their Pandora sodas. Goofy just has 8 limbs and Donald is for some reason glowing. Oh, fuck yeah.
No, Donald is that fucking rhino thing. With just a tiny wand.
Oh, and then Goofy's the Turuk Maktober.
Goofy is the most fearsome predator of the sky, the last shadow. And the last thing you hear before you die is, oh, young.
I'm literally crying.
Oh, man. Disney, I know we shit on you all the time, but we do it out of love. Hire us.
And then he looks to his left. Who does he see, Leyla?
So my character's name is Carly, starts with a K, ends with an I, and she is a human from the Toy Story world who took a 1-year break after college and fell in with an MLM called Sliceco, and she's a door-to-door knife salesman, and she will be playing the Dark Playbook. She's gonna girl boss the darkness. I only need 5 friends to join, and then I get a bonus.
Oh my god. I went to high school with her.
I went to high school with the girl.
We all went to high school with Carly. Great. Holy shit.
Oh. So physically, she's just like a fit 25-year-old in some like, we'll call them fantasy yoga pants and like a yoga tank top with the Heartless logo kind of obscured by a tasteful little cardigan, you know? And her weapon used to be like an actual knife, but now it looks like a knife made out of gummy because that's what all the weapons look like in Kingdom Hearts. But it's a big, very big, like giant, you know, magically bound to her appears when she gets.
Yeah, it's like Cloud's Buster Sword, but just a knife.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fuck me. Okay. Oh, great.
I like basically everything about this movie except for the story, which is absolute dog shit. And I think we should start interrogating that by talking about the characters. I think it's a very common trope to be like, hey, you remember Avatar? Name that character. What's the main character of Avatar's name? Nobody knows who Jake Sully is until you're like, I'm going to pull up Wikipedia and read his name out. Leyla, tell me some things about Jake Sully.
Jake Sully is a warrior from the clan Jarhead, by his own admission. He's just he is a fantastic case study on what makes the difference between a stupid man and a himbo. Jake Sully, not a himbo. He does not drink respect women juice all day fucking long. He's just he's not even stupid. He's just ignorant. Like, he's just an ignorant person, and he's frustrating to watch because the inciting action of him becoming the chosen one isn't his own curiosity and willingness to learn the nature of the Na'vi. It's him being in danger, and Awa, the, like, magic tree at the center of their culture, choosing him for some reason. Because if Awa hadn't interfered, Neytiri would have killed his ass. And she should have.
Yeah, I mean, God. This whole movie is rightfully criticized for being a big embodiment of the white savior trope, which, listen, not that many people listen to this podcast, but I'm, I assume that everyone listening to this podcast does know what the white savior trope is, but if for some reason you don't, it is a common trope in European, my reference point is American media, but there is a white person who goes to an indigenous land in Dances with Wolves. It's a white person going to speak with Native Americans. In The Last Samurai, it's Tom Cruise going to speak with the Japanese. And he, initially is there to take over their lands, but then he spends some time with them, realizes that's bad, and learns their culture and their practices, their language, their ways, and becomes better at their ways than they are, and becomes the whole reason that people is either able to survive or make a heroic last stand or something of that nature, right? And it's, I mean, right, I think it should be pretty self-evident why that's kind of a gross trope, right? It sort of it makes it seem like, the indigenous people, the non-white people need the help of a white person to actually do anything to survive the onslaught of settler colonialism and imperialism. And that's just not the case. I mean, we can talk about technological disparities, but largely that's not really it, y'all.
But, also technological disparities that are often the result of prior colonialism, right? That's what Black Panther was trying to kind of tackle, is like, what would happen if, Afrofuturism, that's the entire concept, is like, what would an Africa be without having been held back by settler colonialism? And listen, we gotta point out that all the people for working for the company I'm going to refer to as Amazon, because Amazon's everything, the mining conglomerate, they're all light-skinned. They're all white, but they're all light-skinned. I don't remember seeing a dark-skinned person on screen among the humans. And then the Na'vi are all played by actors of color. That is a fact from the Wikipedia.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
Yes.
I know Zoe Saldana is Neytiri, but holy shit, that's a bad look, James!
My jaw cracked. I got so mad my jaw just cracked. It's just such a bad look. That's the thing, right? It's like, this story isn't really anything like it's bad, but it's nothing like newly egregious, like, I'm not watching this going, oh my god, James Cameron invented a new way to talk about, white savior narratives. No, it's the same old, but like, so much money went into the same old, and 2009 was just like not long enough ago for this to not be a terrible fucking look. And the question I keep asking myself is like, how are we gonna do these sequels?
Like, oh my god, here's the thing, like, god, we have not even talked about the rest of the characters. We're getting into it, but like, discourse, right? Capital D discourse has evolved so much since 2016 happened. In American in American popular conversation, right, the rise of white nationalism, fascism is all tied up in Donald Trump's election. You know, a lot of liberal people, you know, Democrats, including myself, who were kind of like, oh, you know, people are reasonable and you know, good will win out, sort of woke up and realized that America is not exactly a good or functioning state. And like, the internet discourse and the Overton window has moved so far in the past 4 years, let alone the past 11. Like, and the thing is, Avatar 2's been done. Avatar 3 is probably done at this point. They're going to be using talking points from, like, 2012. They're going to be talking about, like, fucking binders full of women and Psy in Avatar 2, and it's going to be, like, completely irrelevant. And they, like, James Cameron, because these movies take so fucking long to make, like, whatever narrative they're trying to advance, it is almost a guarantee it'll be so far beyond, like, what we're talking about, and it's just embarrassing.
Listen, I think that the most important theme of Avatar 2009 is that James Cameron is a fucking furry.
Okay.
Listen. Those blue people are very sexy.
There's no denying that.
There's no denying that. They're very, very sexy. And I do not like... I was going to call him Josh. That's how forgettable this fucking character is. I do not like Jake and Neytiri. I do think it's fucking hilarious that they fucked in the ghost tree. I think that's very funny that they fucked
we are mated before
tree.
Awa. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also like that it was this very Titanic sex scene, you know what I mean? It was just a lot of, like, petting. But the thing is, he didn't have to include that.
No, that was all.
That was all.
That's all James. That's like Tarantino being like, "Oh, I guess we have to have this foot shot very explicitly in the front of the camera." Also, like, I don't know if it was in the Disney Plus version, but I distinctly remember when I was watching it in movie theaters, they're like hair braids tying together. And
oh my god, they did cut it out.
Yeah, they cut that part out. And also in the beginning, when Jake is first in his avatar body and he sees this like hair braid, Grace makes the joke, like, she says, "You don't play with that, you'll go blind." So explicitly, like, this is your genitals. So, like, very funny that Disney cut that out, firstly. Secondly, just, like,
they didn't cut the wanted them blind.
No.
That's still in there.
Yeah, they didn't cut out that because I guess it's, you know, veiled enough. But James very much, in the original cut, did want people to know the sexual capacity of these cool cat people.
Well, the braid thing, too, is very funny just because the animation of, like, the tendrils is very, like, sensual, you know? It's just, like a gentle, like a caress. A gentle wrapping to make the link, you know, it's very burlesque, the motion. Audience, Aaron is making the nyan nyan cat hit.
Exactly.
I wonder how much fan art we could find of the Na'vi going nyan.
Control T.
All right, here we go.
Na'vi.
Yep.
Cat nyan. Huh. Surprisingly, it's mostly non-cats. Let me add Na'vi avatar.
Maybe take out cat.
Yeah, let's take out cat. Huh, it's only the one. Weird.
Huh. Guess I know what I'm doing next week.
Yeah, listen.
Just blowing up the tags on Tumblr.
Oh, Christ.
It is interesting, though, like, how, I mean, not interesting, mostly... You know, just to be what it be, but, you know, cat boys are looked down upon, are really marginalized in our society, and then James Cameron just stormed in and made them mainstream, and no one batted an eyelid. I think that's the true white privilege, is you can just be a cat boy. Do you think Odd from Code Lyoko would do well on